Ladies and gentlemen, the new update has arrived and I want to give you my first impressions because there is a lot to get to. Now, on the uniform side, we have brand new looks for Iron Man, War Machine, Hulkbuster, and Rescue. All of these uniforms look good. None of them look as good as Hulkbuster, I will say, but War Machine is probably a close second with that glow on the side there. But Iron Man is probably the most understated here from at least an aesthetic point of view. But I do think they have some pretty nice animations. And overall, I would say the feel of playing these characters is pretty good. They definitely improved the feeling of playing Iron Man quite a lot, as well as War Machine. I think those are the two big winners in terms of playstyle. Hulkbuster is a little bit of a loser for playstyle, in my opinion, but he also has the possibility of being good for PvP, so we'll have to wait and see how that pans out. I haven't tested him yet in PvP because at level 70, he really doesn't stand a chance. He may not even stand a chance at level tier 4, right? But you want to get him to at least 80 before you start testing that kind of stuff out. As far as like the clear winner in terms of a uniform from this update, I don't really have one just yet. I think it's probably going to be a race between Iron Man and War Machine if I had to guess between those two. Just because in general players tend to favor PvE over PvP. For War Machine, I haven't seen anything out there besides my own testing, but my testing was good. He was proc friendly. He hit really hard. He was, nice animations. For Iron Man, I think a lot of people are going to think that this is a side grade over back to basics. I'm a little bit more in the camp that it's a direct upgrade, mainly because it makes him easier to play because you get to see Emma on some of his skills. It just looks quite nice there, and he also does hit harder. I tested on the live stream. I'll do an in-depth video, but he absolutely hits harder with this uniform. How much harder is difficult to say, but I don't think this is a situation like Doctor Strange where it's a side grade or a minor upgrade. I think this is a larger upgrade. Whether it's large enough for you to buy this uniform, I don't know, but I do think it is there. So we'll have to wait and see. The only other thing I can tell you about Iron Man is that Free-to-Play Adventures released a video where he scored 17 million in ABX with a CTP of energy build. And this is unusual because rage CTPs are almost always needed to score close to the cap in either ABX or ABL. So that is interesting. However, and so I'm happy for him, and I think the testing is good, and I think there should be more testing done for this. However, I do want to caution players before they jump on the bandwagon of like, oh, I'm going to use Iron Man with an energy, and he's going to be really good for ABX. I don't doubt that Iron Man is really good with an energy for World Boss. He's definitely proc friendly now. That energy could definitely shred, Jean, Kang, etc. But specifically in ABX, to get that score, to get a score similar to that, I just want you to keep in mind a couple of things here. This is a mighty energy with the beatdown proc. That's the first thing. The more important thing here is that the team-up collection is being used. So there you go. Near the beginning of the video, he hovers over the details page, and you can see that there's 35% additional Pierce. Now, of course, when Free-to-Play Adventures makes these videos, he covers the accounts that have, very high-end ABX builds, and so they're going to have very, very good ABX cards and swords and things like that. And I totally understand that. But I just want to caution players because unlike having really good swords and really good cards, right now the only way to get the team-up collection maxed out for characters like Hulk, Thor, Iron Man, Cap, Black Widow is through the Avengers team-up collection through buying tokens. There's really no other way to do it. I myself spent over $100 buying tokens, and I was only able to get to the 5% Pierce area right here. So it takes a considerable amount of whaling. It's hard to describe, but it's like maybe triple or quadruple the amount of money involved to get those last 3 pips to go from 5% additional Pierce to 10% additional Pierce. And when I tested it just briefly on stream, I was only able to score about 15 million with a Mighty Rage. So again, I just want to caution players against, I don't want to be too FOMO into any one character. I'm not trying to talk you out of getting Iron Man's uniform, but at the same time, I think FOMO can take hold. People can see things. They don't calculate the full cost of them, and then they're disappointed when they get it, and it's not what they thought it would be, or it didn't perform as well as they thought it would perform. If you go over to the archive, you will see that we have 2 new token events. We have the one for the Iron Man Iron Armor event token. So these are going to be the good tokens that you can exchange for really good rewards. And then we also have the Corvus and Proxima event tokens. Now, this is important because we have a new world boss. We're going to have a token event, which is great. We had one since Ultron, Gore, Kang, Jean, Black Swan. Awesome. If you go over to Corvus and Proxima, you can see that it actually cycles in the image between the both of them, which means you do actually fight both of them. I can't confirm that because I haven't unlocked it yet. The unlock challenges are very easy but very expensive, so I'm choosing to save my crystals this time around. I hope you can forgive me. But in addition to these rewards, at stage 50 plus, you can unlock their emblems. Now, when you go over to emblems, if you scroll down to the bottom, you will find their emblems not attached to any existing collection. So this is interesting. We didn't know this was possible, but apparently it is. They can release new emblems that aren't tied to an emblem set, like Iron Man, Spider-Man, or S.H.I.E.L.D., and they will just exist nebulously and give you buffs. So this is pretty huge. Proxima's emblem gives you an increase of energy attack to World Boss, so that's 7%, and it's going to scale up from there. And then Corvus's gives you just a flat increase of physical attack. Now that's really strong because it applies to all content. It applies to PvE content, it applies to PvP content, farming content, everything. So that's huge. That makes Corvus one of the best artifacts now, emblems to hunt for, because along with the, I think it's Green Goblin, or maybe it's Nick Fury or something like that. This one here is instinct attack. This one is instinct attack, but I believe it's the Green Goblin one that is just straight attack. So the Green Goblin one is a little bit better than the Corvus one, but again, the Corvus one is half as good as this one because it applies as well to all content. But in addition, you can see something else. If you click on one of these emblems and you click location, it will give you the following piece of information. Find it in the Proxima and Corvus token shop. So there you go. You'll be able to exchange, presumably, tokens from this event when it's live for those emblems. So I would work on unlocking that World Boss Legend Plus stage by beating Jean 5 times, beating Kang 5 times, and beating Black Swan 5 times, as long as you have at least 3 tier 4s, right? Because if you don't have 3 tier 4s, you're kind of out of luck. But I would focus on unlocking this quickly. You have about a week, maybe a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks tops, before you have to have this unlocked so that you can get the most tokens out of the event, right? Out of this event, so that you can trade those tokens in for Corvus's emblem to get a flat 4% physical attack increase for all your characters in all content. And then, of course, you can upgrade it from there past 4% to give you even more value. So, yeah, definitely keep that in mind. We also have Timeline Survival making a comeback. Really cool. In the sort of prelude cutscene, they talked about the Sinister Six getting their hands on the symbiote, which is an interesting thing to think about, with the possibility of Mac Gargan, Scorpion, getting a symbiote War Machine suit. Maybe they're teasing that in the future. Who knows? We also have the Secret Shop. To give you guys just a quick rundown of what you need to do for the Secret Shop, because it's fairly straightforward. There are only 3 stages to this Secret Shop instead of 5 or 6. The first one's not very good. It gives you tier 3 materials as a reward. The second one is good. It gives you about 2 days worth of tier 4 materials, and you get all of those rewards, not just one. And then at the end, you get a CTP of Liberation. So how much is this going to run you? Well, you can see the rewards here, or you can see the cost of the items you need to buy here, and they range in cost from 500,000 gold to 130 crystals. That is the maximum amount you can spend, or sorry, 165 crystals for a couple of the items there. So 500,000 gold to 165 crystals. However, all of the gold items can only be purchased once per bingo board. So the way that it works out, all you have to do is just target all of the gold items and all of the items that are under 50 crystals. If you do that, there are 13 items that cost gold. I'm showing you fewer now because I've already bought some of them and they disappear from the list. There's 13 that you can buy for gold, and then there's 4 that you can buy for 50 crystals. That's going to put you at 17 squares unlocked. On average, it takes 22 squares to finish a board, which means you need another 5 to 8 purchases to complete the board, which is going to cost you a remaining 500 to 800 crystals. That puts the cost of each board at 700 to 1,000 crystals, which means if you want to secure all of the rewards, which is all 3 of these, plus most of the rewards on the lines, on the bottom and on the side there, it's going to cost you 2,100 to 3,000 crystals. Now, that's a pretty good deal if you care about getting the CTP. If you only care about getting the tier 4 materials, it's still going to run you about 1,400 crystals to get this and to get the other one and to get the stuff here. I'm not 100% sure if that is worth the crystals. It's up to you. I would say it's a judgment call that you have to make. But yeah, don't touch anything over 100 crystals, and only buy the 100 crystal purchases 5 times or less during the secret shop. You can get luckier and finish the board with less than 22 squares. It's technically possible. It's just unlikely due to RNG. So just keep that in mind. You have just over 3 days to finish this if you start now, because it cuts off the last day because of the maintenance. But 3 days is still a lot. On average, it takes about a day to do each board, so you technically have more than enough time if you start now. But again, only engage in that if you are interested in at least the tier 3 or the tier 2 reward, the tier, like the third tier, the level 3 or the level 2 reward. Don't do it if you're just going to finish the first board. It's not worth it at all for just the first board. 700 crystals for that much material. I mean, maybe, actually. That's a lot of CCF, I guess. It's half of a tier 4. Tier 3, sorry. Yeah, that could be. Could be worth 700 crystals if you like the other materials as well. I don't know. It's really up to you. The other materials are not as good. And then the last thing I want to talk about is Dispatch. Dispatch Shop got a massive, massive upgrade. I'm going to be compiling a list of the rewards to make a separate sort of guide on it. But just so that you guys know, and I'll show you guys like rapid fire here. A lot of people helped me out and took a bunch of screenshots. So I'm going to show you guys what you can get. You can get emblem enhancement kits for tokens, which is basically for free. You can get a CTP discounted. Check this out. This is discounted to 2,415 crystals. That's a very, very cheap price. That is similar to the amount of crystals on average that you pay when you're gambling. So if you hate gambling and you want a guarantee on a CTP, this is not a bad cost. It's a little bit more expensive than a legendary battle, but as you know, the legendary battles are limited. I would say the only 2 CTPs worth buying generally for most accounts is either a Conquest or a Rage. Aside from that, I would say probably stay away from this even at this price. But again, if you really want a CTP for a particular piece of content or to reforge something like that, this is not a bad deal at all. If you can hit it with the discount and it's 2,400. If it's the regular cost of 3,400, it's not worth it. You have here a Rage with this bonus, which is very, very nice. The Odin's Blessings are still not worth it, although they're heavily discounted. 1,500 crystals is way too much for one Odin's Blessing, unfortunately. The P cards can also be discounted. Again, I think at 3,400 crystals, this is too expensive, but when it gets discounted, when you hit that 30% discount, which is like a RNG chance, then for 2,500 crystals to confirm, to guarantee you're getting this card or you're getting the Luna card, I would say go for it. You can also get tier 4 materials. This is 10. I know it's only 10, but it's basically free for 100 of the tokens. You can also see you can get a shitload of hidden tickets, which is very nice. Stay away from the tier 4 materials for crystals. It's not worth it, even though it's, tier 4 materials. You can also get tier 4 materials for free, basically for tokens, as you can see there. Not for gold, but for tokens. You can see the Conquest is available in the Dispatch Shop. You can also get, I know it's very small, so it's hard to see, but you can get a Mythic card for about 650,000 gold. This is one of the best deals. A lot of people are not going to realize how good this deal is. It's very, very good. So you should be checking your Dispatch Shop now. You can see that there's a Luna card, and you can see there's some purchases. You should be checking your Dispatch Shop every 6 hours if you can, or at least check it twice a day. The bios are still not worth it, by the way. 50 bios for 170 crystals? No, not worth it. 100 carbonadium for 300 crystals? Also not worth it. Don't do that. But yeah, you should be checking your shop at least once a day. This is what my shop looks like. And then you should also be refreshing the shop. You can refresh the shop up to 10 times a day for tokens. So you should absolutely do that. The only reason you shouldn't refresh your shop is if you are low on tokens. Eventually, if you aggressively reset your shop and you aggressively buy things with tokens, you will run out. You get more passively through Dispatch. So just save up until you have a few thousand more and then start refreshing, or just go down to 5 refreshes a day instead of 10 refreshes a day. But yeah, you should be able to consistently farm this pretty well, and maybe try to get like 1 mythic card a day or something like that. So yeah, very, very nice there. I would say maybe if you're trying to min-max your tokens, you should, the purple tokens, these Dispatch tokens, avoid buying things like those rocket bios. I'm going to avoid buying them with tokens and just try to buy things with gold to unlock the mission shop. Or don't even care about unlocking the mission shop and just keep refreshing until you see those big juicy rewards like the tier 4 materials for tokens, or like the 6-star card for gold. So yeah, that's basically it for the update. There is more, but I want to save it for a separate video because it's very hype and this video's gone on long enough. So hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think of your first impressions of the update. Thank you so much for watching. Smash the like button if you enjoy the content, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.